in the Broncos, and unfortunately because of their record, an opponent in the Seahawks.
All right.
The Seahawks are so banged up, Dick. A good example, all three of their starting linebackers are out of this game. You've got to fight, and Mike Holmgren is working a corner. Who knows, maybe a couple overhand rights. The opponent wins sometimes.
Seahawks may be loading up, and for Mike Shanahan, he's in a fighting mood. His team lost on Monday night, worst loss in 6 years.
Kickoff, Denver and San Diego are the only two AFC teams with 6 wins. There are 16 teams in the AFC. 12 of them are either 5-4 or 4-5. So this is the time where somebody has to make a statement. Well, at Tennessee today, they've won their 5th in a row. There's one of the teams.
Well, we're getting ready for the stretch run, and Ed McCaffrey said it pretty well about it's the time of the year now where some teams are going to start to separate themselves from the rest of the field, and that's what the Broncos would like to do right now. They missed an opportunity Monday night against the Raiders, but the Broncos realize that a stumble here in Seattle, talk about a loss of separation, 2 in a row, unacceptable for this Bronco team.
Former Oregon star Reuben Drones at the goal line, and the kick. This is his first return, and it's a fake reverse, and Drones keeps it, fights through tacklers, and is all the way to the 38-yard line. Terry Killens makes the tackle. Brian Griese on the field trying to make amends for that ugly Monday night loss. Here's his thoughts today.
I think our key to the game is we have to control the line of scrimmage, run the football, and take advantage of some big plays down the field.
Pretty basic stuff with Portis, the rookie at the running back position. Anderson, who's a 1,000-yard rusher, has been moved to fullback. Excellent outside receivers in Rod Smith and Ed McCaffrey. Shannon Sharp is out with a dislocated elbow, so Dwayne Cardwell's at tight end. Griese on the first play keeps it and runs it out of bounds at the 45-yard line, a gain of 7 against the Seahawk defense. And here's how they align themselves defensively. Up front, they're led by John Randall, the veteran of 7 Pro Bowls. The linebackers, none of these linebackers started the season, as they have been wiped out by injuries at that position. And Sean Springs, one of the better cornerbacks, anchors that back for Robertson, Tongue, and Lucas. Portis, fake to him. Griese throws to the far side, wide open, Rod Smith, and a first down at the 42. As Smith is leaping high in front of the Seahawk cornerback. Marcus Bell over there to help make the tackle, but it was Sean Springs in the matchup against Smith.
And this took from the time that Rod Smith breaks open, this ball takes a long time to get there, but Sean Springs had a little trouble making the break back towards Rod Smith. And Smith went up and got this high throw from Brian Griese, but Sean Springs normally doesn't allow that kind of separation from a receiver. He covers tighter than that.
14 yards on the play, empty backfield. Griese underneath. Ed McCaffrey has his first catch and is hit immediately at the 36-yard line. Orlando Huff, who has never started an NFL game, he's always played outside when he does play, has been moved inside with the injury to Isaiah Kazavinsky last week.
And I think we're going to see an awful lot of what Denver just did with that throw and catch by Ed McCaffrey. It was about a 6 or 7 yard pattern right down in the middle, working that zone where those 3 new linebackers are having to play. I think Denver's going to try to exploit that soft spot.
Clinton Portis is met rudely by Orlando Huff and company after a short gain. Back to the McCaffrey catch. It gives McCaffrey 62 consecutive games with a reception, and that ties him for the team record with Lionel Taylor going back to the 60s, the great wide receiver for the Denver Broncos.
I wonder how many people in our viewing audience remember Lionel Taylor. What a fabulous player he was.
And coach, a great assistant coach for many years in the league. 3rd down and 4. Portis, big hole. And he has a first down at the 23-yard line. Finally brought down by Curtis Fuller at the safety spot. Portis lightning quick. Sonic is his new nickname.
Boy, look at the fold blocking. You see the right tackle, Matt Lepsis, comes and traps down in the middle. He takes John Randall, and no middle linebacker in a in a scheme where the Seahawks were committing to rushing the passer. Excellent call by Denver.
Portis again, and he's hit right at the line of scrimmage by Lamar King, who slashed in from his defensive end position, and it's a short gain. But an impressive opening drive here, engineered by Greasy and the Broncos, mixing pass and run. Portis, second-round draft pick, with all those Miami Hurricanes from the national championship team going in the first round. He was left as a second-round pick, and what a selection it was for Denver.
Must be tough for Portis having to go to Denver and play with inferior talent.
Yes, there he is again. Hit after a gain of just a couple. Well, it's there's something magic about being a running back and coming to play behind this Denver line.
Yeah, no kidding. Names Mike Anderson ring a bell, Alandis Gary, and maybe the guy at the top of the list, Terrell Davis. Look at what they all did in their first season in the National Football League. And if Clinton Portis at the bottom, that 1,088 is projected if he continues on the same pace that he has turned in the first 9 games. I'd say maybe the scheme. I think Mike Shanahan and the offensive line get a little credit for that.
3rd down and 8 for Gracie. Throws underneath. Incomplete. Intended for Ashley Lalee, the rookie from Hawaii. Reggie Tung got a hand on it. And the field goal unit comes on as Seahawks, worst in the league. 3rd down stopping opponents do come up with a 3rd down play here.
Well, a little zone blitz right here by the Seattle Seahawks as they drop back into a zone coverage, and 3 guys were clogging the middle of the field. A risky throw by Greasy.
Jason Elam to try a 40-yard field goal. He hooked it. No good.
Not even close.
So disappointed Mike Shanahan sees an excellent drive end on a missed field goal.
If there was out of bounds to the left, you'd have to re-tee this. It's just a pull dead hook by Jason Elam. Nowhere close.
And Mike Holmgren has to applaud his defense and the good fortune on the missed field goal. Now out come the Seahawks in their new uniforms. Not exactly getting great reviews. From the 30-yard line, Matt Hasselbeck rolling, stopping, and has to throw it away as he was being pressured by Kavika Pittman. Max Strong, the fullback, was in the area.
Well, you draw that play up in practice, and during practice the defensive end is supposed to take the fake and run the other direction. He's not supposed to run right upfield and get in the quarterback's face. Good job by Kavika Pittman.
Hasselbeck has played his college ball at Boston College. Acquired in a trade from Green Bay a couple of years ago. 2nd and 10. And welcome those of you who have been watching Tennessee and Pittsburgh, and the Titans winning their 5th game in a row over the Steelers, 31-23. Dick Enberg, Dan Dierdorf, Bonnie Bernstein here at Seahawks Stadium in Seattle. 76,000. It's a beautiful football day. Temperature 55 to 60 degrees. And the Seahawks have stopped an opening drive by the Denver Broncos. A 40-yard field goal attempt by Jason Elam, missing badly to the left. This is a 3rd down 10 play. First possession for Seattle. Hasselbeck steps up and fires. Intercepted. Denard Walker. Walker at the 50, the 45, and tackled at the 43. His first interception of the year. Intended for Corin Robinson, who was able to make the tackle. Oh, timeout. 9:48 left in the opening quarter. No score. Matt Hasselbeck picked off by Denard Walker, only his 2nd interception and the first interception for the Broncos in quite some time. They have only 6 all year. Greasy into the flat, completes it to the fullback Mike Anderson, and Anderson's first touch. He takes it to the 39. Sean Springs defensively on the coverage.
Well, Dick, Corin Robinson lines up in the slot right here, and then Denard Walker has the outside coverage down here. And as he comes down like this, it's going to be zone coverage. Watch Walker play the underneath. He's working the underneath part of the field, and then this throw comes down a little short, and Walker has time to react back. Robinson, the intended receiver, He was open briefly, but not long enough.
2nd and 4 as flags fly. Portis for a yard. King and Eaton on the defensive right side of the Seattle line reacting. Man in the white hat is Larry Nemens.
Defense offside, number 92. The 5-yard penalty will make it a first down.
You can see the hard count by Brian Greasy got everybody moving. Lamar King gets called for. Chad Eaton was on the move as well. Either one of them could have been called for the offside. And you notice he did it without a head bob. That's just all vocals on the part of Brian Greasy.
33-yard line, first down. Portis slices into the 29, and Reggie Tung up from the safety spot to make the hit as we go down for the first time and visit with Bonnie Bernstein.
Hi, Dick. Well, you were talking earlier about the MASH unit that is the Seattle linebacker core, and these are important guys. Anthony Simmons, the team's leading tackler of the last 2 years, hasn't played since week 1. Sack leader Chad Brown just got put on IR this week. Isaiah Kazavinsky with an ankle injury. The guy replacing him is a second-year player in Orlando Huff. First start. His role is important because he's making all the calls for the defense today.
Fake right, and then the handoff to Rod Smith, the wide receiver, on the end around. He has to cut back as his path was cut off, and Huff, Bonnie just alluding to Huff, the second-year backer from Fresno State. High school, college, an outside backer, and now in the middle, has all the responsibilities falling on his shoulders. He's done rather well.
Yes, he's done very well, and a smart player. He ends up making the tackle, but really Lamar King made that play happen. Lamar King made up for jumping off sides. He's the one that got upfield and turned it back to the inside.
3rd and 4. Portis. They stack him up 2 yards shy of the sticks. 4th and 2, and out comes Jason Elam, and then he's called back as Mike Shanahan with second thoughts after Elam hooked badly a 40-yard attempt earlier in this quarter.
Elam can't believe it. Without being sent out, he just started to trot out onto the field, made it at least 5 yards onto the field before he got the hook. I think he's a little, what a wonderful career he has had, and I think he's a little incredulous, Dick, that he got called back to the sideline.
This would have been a 42-yard attempt that falls into that range where he's only 3 of 8 this year.
Now Brian Greasy got the Seahawks offsides once.
Fires wide open McCaffrey, and he is able to absorb a tough hit and hang on to the ball. Ken Lucas was there on the coverage, could not jar him free, and Reggie Tung applying the hit.
And that was a hard ball for McCaffrey to handle. I thought Brian Greasy might go to a long count, seeing if he could get the Seahawks offside. But Ed McCaffrey, such a big physical receiver, didn't handle the ball all that well right off the bat. Lucas hit him pretty hard, but McCaffrey was able to really secure the ball on the second try.
Anderson now in the backfield behind Greasy to the outside. McCaffrey can't hang on this time. No, it's Jeb Putsier, who has not caught a pass in his NFL career. Putsier from Boise State, seeing some action because of the injury to Shannon Sharp.
Well, Brian Greasy telling us that Putsier is going to be a part of the offense, that he will catch a pass in today's game. Brian Greasy put it right on the hands. It was an excellent throw by the Denver quarterback, but the rookie couldn't handle it.
Putsier wide left, the wide receiver Smith and McCaffrey to the right. Give inside to Anderson, plows his way to the 17-yard line, and they're met by a sea of Seahawks. What color would you call their uniforms? I'm gonna have to go to a fashion designer.
Yeah, and that's not, don't be looking my direction. I'm not very good on that palette of colors. I don't know what I would call that. It's a bluish green of
sea green, I guess.
Some hue of bluish green.
The same color pants really pull the colorful uniforms together, I think.
Oh, it's a splendid look.
Portis in motion, and Greasy no play as the flag goes down. 5:47 mark of this opening quarter.
Our years of working the runway is really showing up.
Ball start against
5-yard penalty, still third down.
Steve Herndon, the left guard. That brings up 3rd and 11. Mike Shanahan going through his list of plays on 3rd and long against the Seahawks defense that has been very generous on 3rd downs, allowing almost 50% conversions. That is an interesting note on Shanahan. It just tells you what kind of coach he is. You lose on Monday night on a national audience. In the next game, Shanahan has his guys ready to go. 6-1. Greasy, great protection. Intercepted. A diving play by Sean Springs. His 2nd pick of the year.
When Denver fans are going, have I seen this before? Remember Monday night? Denver down in Oakland territory, and Brian Greasy launches one right to Rod Woodson, who runs it back 98 yards for a touchdown.
Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of Super Bowl 37. Budweiser, delivering beer at its best with a crisp and refreshing taste known only to the king of beers. And by GMC, we are professional grade.
Well, we're going to take a look at this interception. Here is Rod right here. Now take a look as he breaks to the inside. And if we could freeze it right here, I want you to take a look at Sean Springs, who gets away with one of the biggest jobs of holding I've ever seen. He grabs Rod Smith and then pulls himself into position to make the interception.
Hasselbeck got back to the air and hits his fullback Max Strong in the flat for a short gain. Hasselbeck had these thoughts on the Seahawk offensive game plan.
My key to the game is to protect the passer. That'd be a good idea. Another good idea would be to get the ball into Corn Robinson's hands. Number 81, he's a great playmaker. Get him the ball and let him make some plays.
And Corn Robinson has been outstanding. 38 catches tied for the lead. The toss is to Sean Alexander, and Alexander out to the 30 and a 1st down for Seattle. Find the block of Heath Evans. Al Wilson made the tackle, and here are the Broncos starters on the defensive side of the ball. With Trevor Price, the leading sacker, 7 on the season. Pro Bowler. Al Wilson, middle of the fastest linebacking core in football. He leads in tackles. And Delta O'Neal with 3 interceptions, the leader in that department. Sam Brandon replacing Izell Reese at safety. Kennedy and Walker the other backs. Hasselbeck hustling out of the pocket and slides down short of the 1st down at the 36-yard line. Lionel Dalton in pursuit.
How is that not a penalty on Ian Gold? Because when a quarterback hook slides like that, he's supposed to have some protection. Matt Hasselbeck is going to scramble out to his right, but the minute he goes into a hook slide, you're not allowed to touch him. And Ian Gold comes sliding in late. You know, from that angle, obviously not a vicious hit, but that quarterback is supposed to be untouchable when he goes into that hook slide.
2nd down now and 5 as the handoff to Alexander, and he's trapped in his own backfield and shoved back. May have gotten to the line of scrimmage. It'll bring up 3rd down, 5 or 6. Pittman and Mobley in on the stop.
Maybe that was a maybe that was a makeup for the Sean Springs episode. That it's been a while since I've seen one that obvious where he just grabbed Rod Smith.
It wasn't just the grab. They pulled Smith back away from the ball.
Yeah, Brian Greasy threw to the spot where he knew Rod Smith was going to be, and of course he's not there. You can't blame that interception on Greasy at all. That was quite a piece of chicanery by Sean Springs.
3rd and 6 out of the shotgun. Wide open is Mealy, the tight end. Tula Mealy out of bounds with a 1st down at the 45 in front of Denard Walker. Mealy from BYU with his 22nd catch of the year.
I'm sure when Matt looks over here, he can hardly believe his eyes that Mealy is this wide open. You know, finally Denard Walker decides to come on over and shove him out of bounds, but boy, this is Walker's working the inside, looking and concentrating on the slot. One of the two guys there, it was either John Mobley or Walker made a blow, and who was supposed to cover the tight end.
No score, 2.5 minutes to go in this opening quarter. Hasselbeck, the son of the former tight end Don Hasselbeck, throws across the middle, incomplete to Mealy. Dangerous throw on the run and then back across the body. But it hit the field turf, this artificial surface, which is quite unique. We'll talk about that later. A reminder to log on to NFL.com and help pick the NFL's All-Star lineup. Cast your vote for the 2003 Pro Bowl squads now only at NFL.com or on America Online. Enter keyword NFL.com. 2nd and 10. And it's Alexander behind blockers, but he's tripped up after a short gain at the 47 as Tyrone Poole, the former Carolina cornerback, makes the stop.
Well, I think Sean Alexander thought this was going to go for more yardage because he's got a lead blocker, Chris Gray, out in front of him. What does Chris Gray do? Whoop. We used to call that a whiff. Looked pretty good right up to that. Man, I hate to single out an offensive line.
Yes,
like
I know you do.
Boy, a whiff is a bad deal. It's
Alexander would have had big yardage had the block been made. 3rd and 8 for Hasselbeck. He guns it complete. It's Bobby Ingram, and he is the 3rd down hero in Seattle. That's his 26th catch of the year, 24 of them for first downs.
Yeah, not only is he Mr. 3rd down, but he's Mr. 3rd down turning them into first downs. Now he catches this about 1.5 yards to 2 yards short of the first down. But Bobby Ingram is one of the better receivers in the league at running after the catch for the tough grinding yards, for not being a big guy at only 5'10", 188. But boy, he turns his nose upfield and knows where that marker is.
First down at the Denver 42. Final minute of this opening quarter.
Going to run out of time here.
We did. That'll cost them 5 for the delay of game. Take it out to the 47.
Offense, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Well, what a beautiful stadium. Well, we have a moment here, Dan, with that open to the north side where you can see into the downtown area. 76,000, all great seats. The accommodations are unbelievable.
Yeah, really. Oh, that's the view as you look to the end zone from our broadcast booth to our left, up the beautiful skyline of Seattle. That vertical tower rising out of the stands. There's a roof over the sides of the stadium. 70% of the seats in this stadium, Dick, are undercover.
It does not have the retractable roof that the Safeco Field for the Seattle Mariners. You can cover that field. They want the elements to be part of the game.
You shouldn't cover a football field. A football field is supposed to be played outside, and I think it was a wonderful decision. It let the fans be dry, but the players in the game was meant to be played in the great outdoors.
Final seconds. I don't think they'll get a playoff before the end of the quarter. They will not, and that is the end of the first period at Seahawks Stadium in Seattle, Washington, where the Denver Broncos and Seattle Seahawks scoreless will return to the Emerald City right after this message. A nice shot of downtown Seattle, and they have a phrase up here, Seattle nice, meaning be nice to your neighbor. Let somebody, they got that turn signal on with nothing wrong, letting them get into your lane, and the politeness is very obvious the minute you step foot here in this great Northwest. Back goes Hasselbeck on the screen, and is Sean Alexander crushed by the play of Ian Gold, the explosive linebacker. He's only 210 pounds. He told us yesterday they call him crash dummy. He's a human impact study.
Well, a screen play against a linebacking core that has the speed of the Broncos linebackers is hard to do because of the way these guys flow to the ball. Ian Gold, they know that they're the fastest linebacking group in the game. He said that's not enough for us. We want to be recognized, and I'm talking about Ian Gold, Al Wilson, and John Mobley, as the best linebacking trio in the league, and you know what? They might be.
They could be. 3rd and 16. Pump fake. Hasselbeck hit from behind by Trevor Price. He has his 8th sack of the year, among the leaders once again. The 3-time Pro Bowler. He's gone to Honolulu each of the last 3 years.
And a guy that, you know, there was some question as to whether or not he was even going to play. He partially tore his MCL in the game Monday night. Didn't look like Trevor was going to play. And out of nowhere, late in the week, he starts feeling a lot better. Well, I guess he's, what did he tell us, 80% was how he felt?
Yeah, he looked 100 to me on that one.
Obviously, his 80% is better than a lot of other people's 100%.
Jeff Fiegels to punt to Deltha O'Neill. O'Neill returned a punt against these Seahawks last year for a touchdown, and that one nearly blocked. O'Neill has to let it bounce, and this is going to wind up being an excellent kick for Fiegels, who is the best in the league in dying that ball inside the 10-yard line. So Greasy and the Broncos will take over at their 5 when we return. Price, who has been moved from inside to outside, he told us it's like getting out of jail. I'm out here all alone with a little guy.
Well, you're playing defensive tackle. You're constantly being double teamed by the guard and center. There's a lot more freedom outside.
Greasy from his own goal line fires to McCaffrey and buys himself some real estate out to the 12-yard line. Speaking of real estate, all the way to New York we go, and Jim Nantz.
All right, good to hear from you there, Dick. Thank you. And let's go south to Miami, where Baltimore is taking on the Dolphins, and it's Ricky Williams from 2 yards out. 7-0 Miami. And let's go back to Dick and Dan.
Thank you, Jim. Miami strikes first in that key game as they try to break the 3-game losing streak. Second down for Greasy. Dump it off to Portis. Portis speed outside and then skids across the 25. A first down. Huff and Fuller there to secure the stop.
We talked about how difficult it is to run screens against Denver because of the experience and the speed of that linebacking core. Conversely, working the other way against an inexperienced linebacking core, screens and all sorts of dump offs in that intermediate range should have a lot of success, because those are the plays that really take the most experience to sniff out, to feel them coming, to not get carried off on a fake in another direction. That's where this linebacking core is really going to be tested.
On first down, it's Portis again, and he gets to the 31, but a flag thrown by the umpire, and you usually are right if it's a hold, and that's the signal.
Holding, offense, number 50, 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
And Hamilton, the center, replacing Tom Nalen. Nalen, the all-pro center, out with a season-ending injury.
Well, the good news for the Seahawks is that that was a defensive play made by Chad Brown. Unfortunately, it was made by Chad Brown, the umpire, not Chad Brown, the linebacker, who is the Seahawks' best defensive player, who's on injured reserve. Chad Brown, the name of our umpire working today's game.
Come on, it's confusing enough. And down goes Greasy. Antonio Cochran wasn't confused. He took a direct line, unimpeded, right to the quarterback for his second sack of the year.
Coming from the left side of your screen, just working right around Ephraim Salam. Just nothing fancy, just an upfield collapse the corner, kind of semi-bull rush by Cochran, and boy, Greasy had that collapse right on top of him.
That takes it to the 7-yard line to get a first down. Denver has to advance it to the 37-yard line. So 2nd and 30. Most times sacked this year, and Greasy right up there with the leaders. Not a good start, and that one is knocked down by Chad Eaton, the Ebolian defensive tackle and the star of the Wednesday afternoon 4 o'clock Seahawk radio show.
What word did you just use there?
Can't repeat it to you.
Thank you very much. We'll call him the leaping Chad Eaton, as it looked like he got a good 2 or 3 inches off the ground. Maybe. You know what? That was too generous. I'm not sure he got off the ground at all.
He is a colorful guy. He can do the impersonation of Rick Neuheisel, the University of Washington coach. Big fan of Bill Belichick. 3rd down and 30. And to get some yardage, the handoff to Portis, who does just that, out to near the 20-yard line. We'll have a punt coming up, but first, here's an update from Jim Nantz.
All right, Dick, at Detroit, where the Lions won 3 straight home games, it's Chad Pennington to Santana Moss. 7-0 New York with a minute to go, first quarter. Let's go back to Dick and Dan.
All right, Jim, and the Jets starting to put on a little pressure on the rest, and they're working their way back into the picture, aren't they?
It looked like they were just about dead and gone, and they have really responded to Herman Edwards.
Micah Noor, the new punter for the Broncos, to Bobby Ingram. A dying kick that Ingram fair catches at the 45. Only 35 yards on the punt. Ryan Greasy recovering from that sack.
Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Be you. Nothing's better. Dr. Pepper. And by T-Mobile. Get more minutes, more features, more service.
Little fish market showtime. And
that guy didn't have enough toys when he was younger. There's Shannon Sharp, by the way, in the background, looking over the shoulder of Mike Shanahan and Gary Kubiak. He's a guy like that. It's uncomfortable being on the sidelines with that partially dislocated right elbow that happened in the game on Monday night, and Shannon out anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks. It's really a question mark as to when he's going to be able to return.
From the 45, Hasselbeck and the Seahawks in this scoreless game. Wide open is Jeremy Stevens, the #1 draft pick of the Seahawks out of nearby University of Washington. He was the 28th player selected in the last draft.
How nice it must be for a guy that only has to move a couple miles as he's drafted #1 by the hometown team. And some talented tight ends here with Mealy and another rookie with Ryan Hannum, who caught his first touchdown last week. So tight end position in pretty good hands here, it looks like, for some time to come in Seattle.
And pretty good size. Stevens 6'7", 265, you saw. Hasselbeck, his second option is halfback Sean Alexander. And Alexander picks up 7 yards to the Bronco 30-yard line. As we remind you, Wednesday on CBS, don't miss what they're calling the sexiest night on television. Heidi Klum, Tyra Banks, and the world's top supermodels heat up the on CBS, America's most watched network. You need permission to watch on Wednesday night? I'm going to have to get a written note from my mother.
A promo like that pretty much leaves me speechless. I'm not quite sure what to
No way.
I'm not quite sure what to say.
Hasselbeck. And he is hit and dropped at the 35 by Big Chester McLaughlin. At 33 years of age, he can still bull rush up the middle and occupy 2 men.
Yeah, that's Chester's first sack of the year, as he's primarily a run stopper, but you saw him put the good outside move on Chris Gray, the left guard. Chester, I think, really surprised Gray with his upfield burst, but Chester and Lionel Dalton give the Broncos that big inside stuff on the running game, and anything you get out of them in terms of a pass rush is real gravy.
Brings up 3rd down and 8 at the 35. And here comes the linebackers, and it's Al Wilson who got there first. Wilson with his 4th sack of the season.
And it's really surprising, because the one thing the Seahawks have done is protect their passer. They only had 16 sacks in 9 games, but that stud up front got some success. But in reality, if Hasselbeck would have found an open receiver, I think he had plenty of time to get rid of the football. But you can see happy feet from the beginning, nowhere to go, and then the pocket just completely falls in around him.
So 2 sacks take them out of field goal range. And the dying kick by Fiegels is fair caught by O'Neal at the Bronco 13-yard line. Points hard to find in the Northwest today. No score with 8 left in the first half. Hawks nest as Denver has it again deep in their own end at the 13. Look at the numbers here on the 2 quarterbacks, each with 50 yards, almost identical.
The difference is the interception by Hasselbeck was a poor throw. Brian Greasy's interception was not his fault whatsoever.
Greasy loads up and fires to McCaffrey and complete at the 30, and he gets another 3 yards as he bounces to his feet. McCaffrey sorely missed by this Denver team a year ago when they struggled for them 8-8.
Well, remember that catastrophic breaking of his leg last year, and he missed the entire season. And Ed said it was really just about 4 or 5 games ago where I felt like I had caught up with the speed of the game, where it was no longer anywhere in the recesses of his mind and all the way back, and it's good to see.
Porter shoots into the open and finally dragged down as he crosses midfield by Tim Terry. Boy, he is quick on that first step.
Well, the big play ability is what separates Clinton Portis from the rest of the running backs of the Denver Broncos. His ability to take an average run and then break a tackle and with that great speed burst up the field. And you can see right there, if it wasn't for some good hustle by Tim Terry, the linebacker, catching Portis, that might have gone a lot farther.
20 yards on the carry, and he gets it right back. Diving to the 43-yard line, a pickup of about 4. D.D. Lewis from the University of Texas. A rookie undrafted free agent makes the stop.
D.D. Lewis from Texas. Now, I'm sorry.
Familiar.
In my generation, that meant D.D. Lewis, the outside linebacker for the Dallas Cowboys for so many years. The awesome player. What a good guy and a good player.
Not related.
Not related at all.
Mike Anderson is the fullback. Flag down, and Anderson belts his way down close to the 35. It's a first down on the run. We'll see what the penalty flag is.
Well, initially, it looked like Brian Greasy got him again, unless somebody twitched on that Denver offensive line. But Greasy with a good hard count.
Defense, offside, number 92. Penalty is declined. First down.
Brian Greasy, Dick, with that, we call it a hard count, you know, where you do that hut. I don't want to yell in my microphone, but you know, it's a very, very emphatic calling on the cadence, and he has gotten movement now out of that Seahawk front 4 3 times already.
You just pulled our statistician. The sideline's incomplete as Ken Lucas denies Ed McCaffrey. And
I think Brian Greasy denied McCaffrey too. That ball thrown pretty much to the outside. This would have been some kind of a highlight reel catch by Ed McCaffrey. I think he's able to just stick out that left hand. But excellent timing that time by Lucas.
Second down and 10 for Denver. The Broncos losing on Monday night 34-10. You have to go all the way back to 1996 for a Mike Shanahan team to be whipped so thoroughly. And they were not in a real good mood arriving here yesterday. Greasy lots of time, throws high. Oh my, almost intercepted. Rod Smith deflecting it downfield, where there were a lot of Seahawks eager to come up with the interception. Closest was Curtis Fuller and Tim Terry.
Well, this was a waste. That's Smith in the slot, but a waste of great pass protection. Rod Smith makes his little curl to the inside, but the throw from Greasy high and back behind Rod Smith. Excellent protection. No hurry at all for Greasy. Just a bad toss. Look at it. Came off his hands kind of funky and twirled to the outside. Terry and Hunt were there, but that should have been a Denver completion.
Third down and 10. The Broncos are 1 for 5 on third downs today. Greasy steps away from pressure. Good run. And he's to the 27-yard line. He's shy of the first down by a couple. Let's see if Mike Shanahan goes to his field goal kicker this time.
I noticed that Jason Elam just didn't take off on his own.
Elam, by the way, missing a 40-yarder earlier.
Now Elam in the group is going to come out. Almost by Brian Greasy. Not the fastest quarterback in the league, but effective when he gets out of the pocket. He knows which direction to head, and a little faster than people give him credit for.
This will be a 45-yard attempt by Elam, who shares the longest ever field goal with Tom Dempsey of 63, but he missed very badly on his first attempt to the left.
You saw that graphic, 3 of 8 from this distance.
This one is right down the middle, and the scoreboard lights up 3 for Denver. 5:02 remaining in the opening half. I look from outside at Seahawks Stadium, this sparkling new facility built right on the grounds of the old Kingdome, right downtown Seattle, adjacent to the baseball park. Safeco Field, the Seattle Mariners home. There's Kevin Casper, the former Bronco, drafted by Denver last year, released the last of October and picked up by Mike Holmgren in Seattle. He's eager to do something against his former teammates as Knorr hits one down to him out of bounds at the 13. To the outside. And the former Iowa star toppled at the 27-yard line by Tyrone Poole. Flag down. And offside is the call against Denver. One would think that Seattle will give
the kicking team was offside, number 34. That's a 5-yard penalty. We'll re-kick.
Ruben Drones a bit too eager.
From high above, you can see actually it looked like, assuming this is Drones all the way up here towards the top, you try to time it. This is the end of the run by Casper, and looked like we had just a grazing of the face mask there. That wasn't called, but well, it's frustrating when you try to time it and then you're just a half a step across that line. You got to look the other 10 guys in the eye when you go back up there and say, sorry boys, I'm got to make you run 60 yards again and get hit and get clipped and push from behind, and it's not the direct line to winning any popularity contest.
And of course the advantage falls in the lap of the returning team. And how many times have you seen a terrific return on a second kick? We saw it earlier this year, Jets and San Diego. Santana Moss returned one for a touchdown on a punt.
Well, and that last one by Knorr was kind of ugly. It initially looked like it was going out of bounds.
This one not any better. At the 17, it's Casper. And he weaves his way out to the 38-yard line as helmets fly. Kelly Herndon made the tackle, and with 4:49 left in the half, we'll take a break. Seattle by 3.
Sponsored by Coors Original, real golden beer. Official sponsor of Guys Night Out. MasterCard. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard. And by IBM. Taking business to the next level with e-business on demand.
Well, a look at some of the 67,000 fans here at Seahawks Stadium. 76,000 at the new Invesco Field at Mile High in Denver. As Hasselbeck trailing 3-0. Guns in, incomplete. Intended for James Williams. The ball a little low. Denard Walker on the coverage.
Well, it has been a tough day so far for Matt Hasselbeck. He picked off in the first quarter by Denard Walker, and then his pass protection, normally reliable, has failed him as he's been sacked 3 times already in this game by a variety of people. Defensive linemen, linebackers. The Broncos and Ray Rhodes, the defensive coordinator, have come at Hasselbeck from a lot of different directions.
He looks at 2nd and 10 at the 37. Backs off.
Yeah, he's going to audible now. He sees Denver showing blitz.
Barely got it off. Good protection. Sidearms incomplete to Mealy, and John Mobley had him in his sights. And no further advance by Mealy.
Well, that was a good example by Denver of they came up to the line, showed blitz. They get Hasselbeck to audible, and then they back out of it and just rush 4 people.
And Pittman from defensive end got a piece of him as he threw. So short gain of 3 on the play. 3rd down and 7 as Corn Robinson and Alex Bannister now along with Ingram with 3 wides. Screen complete to Ingram. Look at him dance. And he fumbled the ball at the 47. The Broncos say they have it.
Well, the first thing you look for, did you see anybody rule it down? And they did not. So this is a live football. First thing you look for, did that official run in and point to the ground? No, he did not, and it has been recovered by Denver.
A lot of Denver fans here cheer that result, and Mike Shanahan's team will put it in play in Seahawk territory.
And the Seahawks are going to want to see some replays in hopes that Bobby Ingram was down before the ball came out. Right here in Bobby Ingram's arms, and we're going to see it get knocked out by Brandon before Ingram's knee. You can see right here that the knee is not yet on the ground. That is indeed a fumble, and an excellent call by the official, and a great play by the rookie Sam Brandon, knocking it out and recovering it.
At the 47, and it's Portis diving for 4. Brandon, who played his ball at UNLV. B squared.
Well, Dick, Clinton Portis leads all rookies in yards from scrimmage, and while Mike Shanahan was well aware of his playmaking ability coming out of Miami, he was really surprised at how well he said the kid could pass block. Now, a lot of big-time rushers in college don't do anything of pass blocking to speak of. He said this kid could hold his own against defensive ends and tackles, and it's translating here, too.
Well, those are high compliments when a coach praises a speedy running back for his blocking. You know he likes you when they talk about your ability to protect or open the way.
And Bonnie, get those gloves off. It's a nice day here in Seattle. Come on, toughen up down there.
Tonight on 60 Minutes, if it surprises you what the president openly calls Osama bin Laden, well, then it will surprise you even more how candid he is about himself and the war on terrorism. That's tonight on 60 Minutes. 3rd and 3. Underneath, incomplete. That was to Portis, the running back. And it appeared that Reggie Tongue was over there just in case. Anton Palapoy applied the pressure on Greasy.
Well, Portis came all the way out in motion, and Clinton Portis just, well, if we're going to call a lineman whiffing on a block, he whiffed on trying to make that catch. The ball missed his hands entirely as he was falling backwards and boinged right off his chest. Not a very graceful effort, was it?
No. Micah Noor from Utah State. He kicked the first 7 games with the Cowboys. They released him and able to get it away. Dying spiral. Bobby Ingram lets it bounce, takes a Seattle bounce to the 14-yard line, and that's where Hasselbeck and the Seahawk offense will play it. 3-0 the score. Chance for Seattle here before the half.
Is sponsored by MGM's Die Another Day, starring Pierce Brosnan, and by Guinness Draft Stout, enjoyed responsibly the world over.
Well, it's a good thing that punter Micah Noor is 6'2". Look how he has to go up and field that high snap from Mike Leach. And then not only does he save the day by making a good catch on a high snap, he delivers a punt inside the 15-yard line. That was an all-star effort on the new punter's part.
From the 14, Hasselbeck hands off to Sean Alexander, and the leading rusher for the Hawks, 542 yards coming in, scored 5 touchdowns in the first half against Minnesota earlier this year, but he's been stymied thus far today. And stay with us. Join the gang from New York at halftime. On the Nextel halftime report, we'll get an update on the condition of the Steelers quarterback Tommy Maddox, injured at Tennessee today. Ball at the 15, a gain of 1 on first down. We understand there was a report that Donovan McNabb fractured an ankle in his game today against Arizona, and of course they'll have an update on that along with all the scores and highlights. So unfortunately, hate to promote that kind of news, but that's the story of the game today. Timeout. Here, going back to your boxing analogy, a lot of sparring and parrying and blocking
mostly jabs.
And jabbing. Yeah, what's going to happen
but
here?
Mostly jabs, but the opponent has not been rocked yet, and the opponent being Seattle down just 3-0, although they can't afford to make a mistake here deep in their own territory. I would suspect if they don't do much on first down, Denver will start burning their timeouts in an attempt to try to get the ball back and maybe get another score before the end of the first half. You've got to try to take advantage of field position like this, and for Seattle, I would imagine they'll be a little cautious.
Yeah, they're looking at 2nd and 9 at their own 15-yard line. Out of the rushing yards, Seattle just not able to generate a run game.
Now Seattle does have the luxury, Dick, of being 3-6 and nothing to lose.
Hasselbeck scurrying out of the pocket. Gets out of trouble once, but not the second time. Tracked by Bertrand Berry, Notre Dame, but it was Trevor Price who first flushed him away. Timeout call.
Well, given the fact that it ends up a sack like this, you know Denver's going to burn the timeout. Now all they're thinking about is holding them the next 2 and getting some decent field position.
Denver and Bertrand Berry with his 5th sack of the season. It's 3rd down and 10. Ball just across the 8-yard line. 1:46 left. Denver has 2 timeouts remaining. Hasselbeck doing a good job of avoiding Lionel Dalton, and then throws. It's almost intercepted by Tyrone Poole, as Poole on the carom had his hands on it.
That ball bounced from number 37 right to number 37. When it looked like it went off the hands of Sean Alexander. The green-blue 37. Let's see, as Hasselbeck has just had his pass protection disintegrate in front of him today. Well, low and back behind Sean Alexander. Alexander making a pretty good effort just to get even a couple fingers on that really poorly thrown ball.
Jeff Fiegels to punt. He has the best net average in the league this year. One of the reasons like that, very, very high kick. The net is only 40 yards high in the year, in the entire league this year, and Fiegels tough to return. Tonight on CBS, don't miss the riveting conclusion of the master spy, Robert Hansen. He took a lot of risk, unbelievable chain of events, and he finally blows his cover. Oscar winner William Hurt stars the world premiere movie finale, Master Spy, the Robert Hansen story, tonight on CBS, America's most watched network. And next Saturday, college football on CBS. The Auburn Tigers. Oh, how impressive. The Alabama Crimson Tide last night in their win at LSU. One of the top football rivalries. For more, go to CBSSportsline.com.
Because of their defensive effort, Denver has 2 timeouts left.
To the flag complete to the rookie Ashley Lalee. And Lalee inside the 50 before tripped up by Doug Evans.
That was a disastrous effort offensively by Seattle, allowing Denver to keep 2 out of their 3 timeouts and only using 1.
Greasy, quick throw, complete, and hit immediately is Olandis Gary. Just into the game, first action today, and a flag is down where Greasy threw the ball. And the penalty is against the Broncos. Stops the clock. 1:06 left in the half.
Chop block. Offense, number 79. 15-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
Steve Herndon guilty of the chop block. Player engaged, and then he threw the block.
Steve Herndon right there at the left of your screen. Comes back in and just grazes. I mean, it literally just grazes the back of Antonio Cochran's legs. But he got called more for the attempt than he did the actual striking of the lower legs. But there's no question he tried to do it. He tried to go low.
That's 2nd and 16 then. Underneath, complete to Rod Smith. And Smith, who's had a drought in terms of touchdowns this year. He's only has 2 after he led the league last year with 113 catches and 11 touchdowns. The timeout is called. 53 seconds left in the half. 1 timeout left for Denver.
You know, Dick, I think that Sean Springs covered himself with invisible dust. Watch the face mask he gets away with here on Rod Smith, spinning him all the way back around, an official right there, and no call. Remember earlier, Sean Springs mugged Smith and got an interception with the defensive holding, and that time he gets away with the face mask. I don't know what. Sean is like he's invisible out there. The officials can't see him. And Rod Smith, the poor guy, he's getting mauled.
He's a prestidigitator as Greasy throws to Gary, and Gary has the catch and falls forward for a first down at the 47, and Broncos hustle up to the line of scrimmage.
Well, they've got to save that last timeout.
35 seconds left in the half. Greasy throws it into the ground, and a flag goes down.
This flag came from the linesman all the way over on the near side of the field here.
And another chop block.
On a pass play like
Personal foul. Chop block, number 22. 15-yard penalty. Repeat, first down.
Well, number 22 is Olandis Gary. On a pass play to the far side of the field, you see Gary goes down and just cut the legs out from under Tim Terry, the blitzing linebacker. The ruling was that Terry was engaged by Ephraim Salam, the left tackle, and if that's the case, you can only chip him up high. You can't go low. The rules are very clear and emphatic on that.
That takes it back to the 38-yard line, and 1st and 25 for Greasy. Escapes the rush, throws to Gary. Gary hit at the 40. As coming up was Willie Williams, a former Steeler. Not big, but he hits big. 5'9" and 182. 14-13. Running out of time. Greasy now perhaps with a desperate long throw. Goes down the middle. Almost intercepted. Marcus Bell was close to picking that one off. Intended for Rod Smith. And Tim Terry applying the pressure.
I think Reggie Dunn with that hit after the play. I think demonstrating the feeling of every safety in the league right here as he right after that he threw his hands up in the air as if to say, I didn't mean it. I didn't hit him hard. I didn't hit him with my helmet. I didn't do anything wrong.
Reminder, Nextel halftime report, not only the scores and highlights, but a couple of very key injuries to quarterbacks. We'll get an update from the guys in New York. As the handoff is to Orlandis Gary, weaving his way. Final seconds, and the first half comes to an end as Gary is tackled at the Seattle 41-yard line. That's the end of the first half with a score. The Denver Broncos 3 and Seattle Seahawks nothing. Stay tuned. Next up.
Since the Nextel halftime report. Nextel, bringing you wireless solutions.
Hi, everyone. Jim Nance here in New York. Let's run down the early finals. We begin down at Tennessee, where the Titans won a 5th straight game. Kevin Dyson, the recipient of 2 touchdown passes from Steve McNair. But the big headline here, Tommy Maddox, the Pittsburgh quarterback, hit at the end of the 3rd quarter, lay motionless on the field for some 15 minutes, left in an ambulance. We'll have more on the Maddox injury shortly. Kansas City evened its record at 5-5. Priest Holmes became the first Chief back to have back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, over 100 today, and a touchdown. Cleveland sweeps the season series on Cincinnati as the Browns get big production from the rookie running back William Green, who had been silent all season, just 4 yards shy of 100 today, couched through 3 scores. Marvin Harrison tied a career high, 14 receptions, 2 of them for touchdowns. Colts are 6-4. The Cowboys, the lowest scoring team in football. And Jacksonville's 5-5, avenging an earlier loss to the Texans. Houston rallied late behind David Carr's 2 rushing touchdowns, but fall 3 points short. Green Bay and Favre continue to struggle at the Metrodome. He's 2-9 all time there. Today he was picked 3 times. Michael Bennett for the Vikings had his 4th straight 100-yard rushing performance, 130 in all. And the Falcons' 2nd largest crowd ever to watch Michael Vick throw for 2, rush for another. Saints penalized 16 times. They've given up 20 now, 14 games in a row. Falcons sweep the season series. The Eagles, huge game from Donovan McNabb. He threw 4 touchdowns, and they've now won 12 times in a row after losing. The bounce-back game, 12-0. And the Giants, 4 field goals from Bryant. The rookie Shockey caught 11 balls in their win over the Redskins. We'll have more on the Maddox story in just a moment. It's reporting from our studios, along with Dan, Dion, and Boomer. The headline story of the day, Tommy Maddox in the Steelers' loss at Tennessee, suffering a neck injury on the final play of the 3rd quarter after releasing this pass. Hit in the back of the neck by Keith Bullock of the Titans, a clean hit. Maddox, though, then was motionless as he was strapped to a backboard. Trainers and doctors worked on him for at least 15 minutes. Then he was lifted onto a stretcher, loaded into an ambulance, and taken to Baptist Hospital's trauma unit. And there's Bullock looking on. After the game, after the Steelers lost, the only thing on their mind in the locker room was the condition of Maddox.
Some of the preliminary reports we're getting are positive. He's getting some feelings back in his upper extremities. I don't have any more information of that, and it would be wrong of me to relay anything. We're all cautiously optimistic, as you would know.
You know, he's not moving. You know, any situation in life where that happens, it's an eerie feeling. And especially when you're out here playing a game and something like that happens, it's you just feel helpless.
Well, his eyes were moving around, and you know, that's all I saw. And to see his eyes open, I was happy about that. But, you know, just to see him in that position, that's not what this is all about.
Oh, there's a tremendous concern. He's in our prayers right now, and, you know, we're hopeful. We're in constant communication with the hospital, and, you know, we're very hopeful at this moment.
Baptist Hospital in Nashville not releasing any information at this time. Tommy Maddox, so much a part of the landscape of this 2002 season, such a big story, and today this just stunning moment there on the field in Tennessee.
And he came around, he's turned around the Pittsburgh Steelers. Everybody's had so much confidence in him. You know, football, there's the risk we take as football players out there, and the one good thing is there's a lot of positive signs, and everybody's very helpful with Tommy Maddox, and hopefully he'll be fine.
All right, Dan, there's another late injury to report, and this one very surprising. Donovan McNabb, on the third play of the game today against the Cardinals, was injured here on this sack. He would stay in the game and throw 4 touchdowns today, but after the game, X-rays revealed a broken ankle.
St. Louis has a Pro Bowl quarterback as well that got hurt, and he was 0-5 when the backup stepped in, and now the backup is 5-0. So no matter if you're Pro Bowl quarterback, no matter if you're backup quarterback, when given the opportunity, and you've been preparing all throughout just like you were the starter, when your opportunity is there, take full advantage, and I think Coy will do the same.
McNabb, again, amazingly stays in the game, throws the 4 touchdowns, but now they say he will be out the rest of the regular season. Coy Detmer becomes the Eagles starter.
That is a tremendous blow to the Eagles. Coy Detmer, you got to come out and play. This is your opportunity. No, you can't do the type of things Donovan McNabb does back there in the pocket, but you can win with this football team. Minimize your mistakes, protect the ball, but it's hard to...
You know, we talked about this in the NFL today. You just never know how it's going to turn as the season unfolds, and certainly for the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, Coy Detmer, who's only thrown 227 pass attempts in a 6-year career, now has to lead this Philadelphia Eagle team. Nothing is etched in stone in this year's NFL, guys.
How about the toughness, though?
Oh, boy, he was great.
Thanks for being with us, folks, on the Nextel Halftime Report. Second half coming up next.
Nothing, and if nothing else.